What's up, Ignite fans? I'm here with my immediate recap and reactions for the first day of playoffs for the North American MRI series. If you might hear my voice, I am tired. Why am I tired? I am tired because this was nearly 9 hours of Marvel Rivals. There was absolutely no need to have 4 best of 5s. Like, these don't all need to be best of 5s, I'm going to be honest. They don't. Come on. Like, best of 3s serve us perfectly well. First game, Team Liquid Citadel versus FlyQuest. This was super competitive, super fun. Map 1 of Domination, Burn T'Challa. This is the first game of North America, and we are, following trend with the rest of the world. First banning Mantis, protecting Gambit for the most part, banning Rogue. Starting off, this was a 2-minute and 37-second overtime. Like, this was an absolutely insane overtime. It was back and forth. You have Atom Reses, you have Soul Bonds, you have more Atom Reses, you've got teleports. This was a super, super exciting and thrilling. It was going back and forth. That was a super, super fun start to North American MRI playoffs. Round 2, it also went to another overtime. This one was a little bit more dominant. It was not as back and forth. But, it was shown that, FlyQuest can be competitive with Team Liquid Citadel, which I think this is really exciting. We've got a really exciting tournament on our hands here. Vezwa MVP on Magneto. He basically only played Magneto here. 38-6 with 17 finals. This guy was like, he was space ults, This guy was doing everything. Moving on to map 2, Heart of Heaven. This was another super competitive round. It almost went all the way. Both teams got it all the way down to the second point. There were some shifts in the ban line, allowing different heroes through and stuff like that. But overall, this was a pretty competitive game. It was fun. NRG with the MVP. You look at the score and you think FlyQuest didn't do shit. They did. FlyQuest did exist. They were just, stalling the cart and shit half the time. Moving on to map 3, Spider Islands. This was another fun game. This was a little bit more dominant than the last two. But Team Liquid Citadel, they just kind of know what they're doing at this point. FlyQuest looks a little bit out of their depth, moving into maps 2 and 3. But, I think that they totally could improve over the course of this thing, over the course of this stage. Cooper MVP. This was a great game. NRG was kind of just lobby admin on Bucky for the most part. But this was a pretty competitive 3-0, if we're being honest. I think it's good to see, FlyQuest from Group B playing against the Kings of Group A, and they made it somewhat competitive, which is, good to see. Good for the Nightmare propaganda. Moving on to Game 2, yeah, we lost versus Sentinels. I've never been the most confident in Sentinels. I think this is kind of what we expected out of them. The ban lines were definitely different here. Sentinels was giving up Gambit. They were giving, yeah, we lost Gambit. It was a little interesting. Both teams ended up with Gambit. Sentinels, they're first protecting Ultron here. I don't know what the hell they're doing. It's not autoplay. But I just don't have any faith in Sentinels. They have decent players. They have Vision riding the bench for some reason behind Usher. I don't know why that is. I don't know if Vision just wants to take a nap, but I swear Vision is better than Usher is. Anyways, this fucking Sentinels team is horrible. I have zero faith that they'll ever make a correct decision. I don't. I truly, and I mean that. They're look at this. Look at the performances that they put up back to back to back. They do not ever inspire you with confidence. This team, they don't really know what they're doing. Sometimes, it's over the course of a series, they'll slowly figure out what works. They never enter into a series going, this is our plan, this is what we're going to do, and it works. Never. They never have a plan go their way. Ever. And it fucking sucks to watch, Mask. Look at the comp that they're running. They're running Thor, Black Cat, and they literally ran them down. This Thor was a problem, dude. It's crazy to me. Sentinels is just fucking horrible. I don't know what else to say about this. Zaytek's MVP. I mean, we're playing Black Cat here. Post nerf. Moving on to map 3. This one goes towards Sentinels. Mostly because, we lost, decided to start throwing the bans a little bit. And Sentinels locked in with an actually good composition, They were playing, the Cyclops team up with Gambit, with Rogue, and it just, they kind of just win off of that alone. Moving on to map 4. We lost, decided to play serious a little bit, and Sentinels couldn't do jack shit. Usher was trying his best. Usher's performance here might go against the grain with my beliefs that Vision is a better player than him. But anyways, Sentinels suck. That's all I can say. I have no idea what went on in the background as to why Oasis was out and why Kurov was playing. It didn't look good. Their tank line, Dongmin tries his best, but I don't think he is. I don't think he belongs here. I'm gonna be honest. He looks out of his depth constantly. He sits there on Penny Parker, and I don't know what else to say about him. He can play Penny Parker. 3-1. We lost. Moving on to game 3, Stick Drift versus 100 Thieves. This was a super exciting map or game. It went all the way basically every single time. Map 1 on domination. This went towards Stick Drift. This seems like it was kind of like a draft issue. 100 Thieves, they weren't warmed up at all, and they kind of just got absolutely pissed on by the Angela. Excuse me. Map 2, Museum of Contemplation. This was a pretty exciting map. 100 Thieves got the full push here. And then, what are we talking about? This was a funny C9. I mean, I really don't know. I don't know. I feel like there were 3 fights back to back to back here where Stick Drift was kind of just not playing the game. They were all taking naps and stuff. But I mean, if you look, this is the C9 that we're making. Your entire team's alive and you're not even touching point. Who knows? But this was a 100 Thieves win. I mean, TTK on their offense went flawless. He was 29-0. It was pretty impressive. Map 3, there were some shifts in the ban line, Stick Drift protecting the Wolverine and stuff like that. This was a pretty good game. Honestly, I don't even remember who won this shit. 100 Thieves won. Moving on. This was a pretty exciting game. I mean, I feel like Redis is the backbone of this team, completely. I don't know. Redis is actually just kind of like a carry for Stick Drift. More shifts to the ban line. Cyclops protect over the Wolverine. Wolverine still gets through, though. So, But, okay. This game, they were playing Hela and Namor for a good portion of it. Namor got a lot of value. Surprising amount of value. There was a lot of, Hela and Psylocke. All these characters that we would never have seen last season, we haven't seen in a long time, and they're making a bit of a resurgence, I mean, just look at this Hela performance. I mean, this guy just absolutely poops on Delana. Look at this. Bonk. He's gone. So, that was a Stick Drift win off the back of a great performance from their DPSs. Self, as you can see, 23-7 with 6 finals. He just wasn't really there. He wasn't active at all as a DPS. He was really struggling on Psylocke, it felt like. Didn't go very well. Move on to map 5. This was super exciting to watch. I didn't realize I had audio on there. But, this was super exciting. Stick Drift was able to... 100 Thieves was able to almost push it all the way. They got it right to the end there. And then on defense, 100 Thieves, it's not going to show here because of the way I did this, but 100 Thieves, they were playing triple tank. They were just playing full goats with Adam Loki double res comp, and they were just had fight after fight after fight. I can actually probably, as you see here, I mean, they just kept dying, bro, over in this bottom right corner. They kept dying. They'd instantly teleport back, and they would just stall forever. And it was super impressive, If they're able to get that game plan working more often without it being hard countered, Remix might be cooking up some good things. That was a really exciting game, A series overall. I was talking smack earlier about how many best of fives there were. This was an exciting best of five. That's all I've got to say. You know, if it wasn't a best of five, Stick Drift would have won. So yeah, I don't know. Why does blue signify a win? Why this is the in-game thing. I'm so confused what this is showing here. This is the in-game thing, and it's showing Stick Drift won 3 maps, but they didn't win this one. Interesting. All right, Game 4, last game of the day, TSM versus Swamp Gaming. I'm going to go through this pretty quickly because, it's TSM versus Swamp Gaming. We did see a return of the 2025 Cal. There were flashes of it. He was playing Hella here. He played Hella on both maps a little bit. Well, all 3 maps. Melophobia here. I mean, this guy, he's like Muscle Man from Regular Show, if you know what that guy looks like. But he decided to swap to Widow and just disrespect TSM. Like, what are we doing here? Pervert. He just wanted to play on the Black Widow skin. Map 3, this was slightly more competitive, I guess. TSM put up a performance. It was a performance. That's what I'll say. All these games, they sort of, they did the minimum expectations. They, first capped things, and then they, pushed it a little bit, but they kind of get held up all the time, and they don't have a really cohesive. They fall apart all the time. Guru looked really good on Angela. I mean, he's probably one of the best Angelas in the world right now. Has been since she came out. He was one of the pioneers of playing Angela. But we can see here we got the 2025 Cal on Hella, pretty exciting. But this was a 3-0 for Swamp Gaming. But they weren't stomps. 10-minute games, that's not a stomp. It's a clean win, but it's not a stomp. Here we've got the bracket at the end of day 1. And like I was saying earlier, there was a lot of variety in the DPSs that got played. All of these DPSs and more got played. I mean, we had Elsa played a lot, we had Hella played a lot, Cyclops, Daredevil. We had 2 separate teams playing Black Cat into triple support stuff. We saw a lot of Wolverine. We saw Stick Drift playing some Namor. We saw Psylocke, sporadically across the day. We saw a bit of Star-Lord. We saw Winter Soldier. We saw some Moon Knight, again, with Stick Drift. Redis was playing that. And we saw a little tiny bit of Phoenix with a Bedtime Story and TSM. And, I mean, we even saw... Speedily was playing Storm. He did die twice instantaneously and then swapped to Black Cat. But he was playing Storm. He did play Storm. He has 2 deaths on Storm. Here's the bracket at the end of the day. And here are going to be my predictions for day 2. I'm going to go, obviously, Liquid Citadel beats Yeah We Lost. There is the potential for an upset because Liquid Citadel, they showed weakness against FlyQuest. They are not a perfect team, the way some may hold them up to. But, I expect them to beat Yeah We Lost pretty comfortably. Swamp Gaming, similar case here. They're going to beat 100 Thieves. I don't think that there's any discussion to be had here. Swamp Gaming looked really good in their game. Sure, it was against TSM, but I don't understand how you could ever see a world in which Swamp Gaming loses to 100 Thieves. FlyQuest versus Sentinels. This is the easiest pick of the lot. FlyQuest is going to absolutely romp Sentinels, and there's no question about it. Sentinels is a horrible team. It's sad that they got into this tournament over NRG or something, because I think NRG might have actually had a chance to do something. They might have won a map. Not a map, but they might have won a series. I don't think Sentinels will win a series. They'll exit right here. And then, Stick Drift versus TSM, this one, it's TSM isn't gonna win, but I'm gonna put my predictions in for TSM just because, we'd love to see TSM. I'd love to see them go on a little bit of a lower bracket run. And that's it for the first day of Marvel Rivals Stage 1 Ignite, the playoff. I'm super excited for the rest of this playoff series. As it whittles down and there's less best to 5s, it's going to be a much more enjoyable viewing experience. Today was kind of terrible because, look at how many maps. I mean, it was 9 hours of Marvel Rivals practically. I was watching 9 hours of this shit. So, my energy levels are not where they should be. Apologize for that. I'll see you guys tomorrow.